Hey guys, I have been gone for 2 weeks now, and there's a lot of really good reasons why. If you don't follow me on all of my other social media, then you wouldn't know. This is gonna be a really long chit chat get ready with me style video. I'm gonna do an eye look I've never done before. I think this is gonna be long. I'm gonna do my face zoomed out this much. I'll try and zoom in closer to when I do my eyes so that you guys can see what I'm doing as I explain what I'm doing. But yeah, let's just get going. So to make the most sense, I need to start from the beginning. I need to start from 2 weeks ago. What happened? Or something that... Snickers. It's almost as if she knows I'm filming, so she must scream. I'm gonna go in with the IT Cosmetics CC Cream, and I'm using the color medium. This color is not my best color. This is way too dark for my skin tone, but I'm trying to get that really tan glow. So let's start off with 2 weeks ago. I had already made a video all about this, and I did not upload it. So 2 weeks ago, I was driving my husband to a doctor's appointment, and that morning I had filmed. And if you follow me on Snapchat, you'll know that was the day that I put on the pink lipstick, and I was so excited because I did a lipstick. I was feeling a little bit stressed. And this was right after my husband gets off of nights. So as you guys know, if you've been watching my channel for a while, my husband has been on nights for the last month. I was talking to you guys about how I had become, super lazy, and all I wanted to do and all I was doing was sitting around watching the Great British Bake Off and eating Pop-Tarts and super lazy. And I was making a joke out of it because I was like, haha, it's so funny, I'm being so lazy. Because I had never felt that way in my whole life. I've never felt as lazy or as unmotivated, and that's why I kept talking about it. And some of you are probably getting really annoyed, as was I, because that's all I would talk about, just how incredibly unmotivated I felt and how I didn't want to film and all I wanted to do was sit around. Now in retrospect, I look back at that and it's such an indicator. That morning that I took my husband to his LASIK appointment, I had woken up and my hand was numb. And I had never experienced anything like that before. As you guys know, I have really bad health. Everything that could go wrong with me goes wrong with me. I always have poor health issues. Wow, look how much darker this is than my actual skin. So I woke up and my hand was numb. So I got on Google like an idiot and I Googled, and the first thing that popped up was diabetic neuropathy. If you guys don't know as well, my first health condition that I was ever formally diagnosed with was PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, where I have insulin resistance, which, if you don't know, is a precursor to diabetes. And it also causes me not to ovulate. I'm infertile. I have dark patches of skin on my body. I have higher levels of testosterone, like excess hair growth. I also have thinner hair on my head, a larger midsection. All of that is related to PCOS. I have a hard time losing weight and have a really easy time gaining weight. And all of these are symptoms of having PCOS. And so when I got online and I saw the words diabetic neuropathy, it freaked me out. And of course, I know they say, don't listen to Dr. Google. Well, you know what? I did. And I freaked out and I got really scared and I tried getting it out of my head. I was like, you know what? I'm not diagnosed by a doctor yet. My hand, I could still use it, but it just felt numb and tingly and weird. I just got ready that morning and thought, let it out of your head. If it keeps on, go to the doctor tomorrow and you can get it checked out. And so I got ready that morning. We got in the car and I drove with my husband and we were going to his doctor's appointment's an hour and a half away, so we have to leave really early. So we were headed to his doctor's appointment, and halfway to his doctor's appointment, I just felt weird in the car. I just felt odd. I felt off. I just felt gross. And so I thought, I'm going to be sick. And so I was like, babe, we got to pull over. And I was driving. So I should not have done my foundation first. I should have done my eyes first because I'm doing, what is it called? Negative space liner. I have seen this trend all over Instagram. I do not know who originated this trend. I have looked on Google today and I asked on Twitter because I wanted to credit the person who came up with it. I don't know who came up with it, but all I know is if you guys do know who originated the trend, you can let me know and I will credit them in the description of this video. But anyway, now I'm going to use my Tarte Shape Tape. So we were driving to the doctor and I had to pull over. I was going to get sick and I just pulled over on the side of the road and I just breathed there for a minute and I just felt really off. I just felt sick to my stomach and really strange mentally. I was just nervous feeling. And I was like, okay, I think I'll be okay. We got back in the car, we started driving even more, and when we got about 10 minutes more down the road, I was like, I'm going to pass out, I'm gonna pass out, I'm gonna pass out. And so I pulled over the car on the side of the freeway, and I just sat there and I had a full-on panic attack on the side of the freeway. I'm gonna start off with Bonfresco here in the Modern Renaissance palette. And I'm gonna take that color, and what I'm doing is the whole inner portion of my eye is gonna be really blended out, and it's gonna be really heavy and smoky, and then I'm going to do a negative space wing liner. So you'll see what that means in a moment, but you can just kind of watch what I'm doing. I'm not necessarily doing a tutorial, but just sort of watch me do it while I tell some stories. I had a full-on panic attack while I was sitting there on the side of the freeway, and it was so scary because in my life I've only had 2 other panic attacks before, and I used to not really believe in them. I thought that people that were getting panic attacks or talking about it, but I was like, just calm down, just relax. And until you have one, that might be your mentality too, because you'll be thinking like, just relax a little bit, like calm down, stop breathing like that. But it's not like that. I sat there on the side of the freeway, and my husband was looking at me like I was absolutely insane. And I had I was panicking, and there was no explanation for it. I didn't know what was going on. I was incredibly scared. Maybe I'll take this in a little bit more of an orange direction. I'm gonna go in with Real Gar. As I sat there on the side of the freeway having a full-on panic attack, I was crying my eyes out. I felt like I don't know what the fuck is going on, and I said to my husband, like, I need to go to a doctor. Like in that moment, I actually thought I was having a heart attack, and I thought I was dying because I was passing out on the freeway. Like I felt like I was passing out. It was such a scary feeling. I'd never experienced anything so scary before. And I knew that nothing was happening, and I could tell myself that, and I could know in that moment that this is in my head. And I knew that, but it didn't matter because the feeling was still so real. And so I had him get into the driver's seat, and I said, you gotta take us home. I don't know what's going on with me, but I can't be here anymore, and we had to reschedule his doctor's appointment, and I didn't go with him on the second doctor's appointment. So we get home, I cry for the rest of the day. I feel defeated and embarrassed and so weak. I was so defeated. I felt like I've always considered myself to be a pretty strong person, strong-minded, strong-willed, and just totally chill and the life of the party and everybody's good. And in that moment, I felt so out of my mind. I'm gonna go in with my Morphe 25A palette, and I think I'm gonna take a mixture of this one and this one. I knew it was a panic attack because of all the health issues that I have had in my past. I get really nervous when I think that something is wrong with me, or that it's irreversible, or that I've done it to myself. I was at home after that Googling like how to stop a panic attack and how to help with anxiety, and the answers were just bullshit, if I'm being honest with you. They're just bullshit. Like, breathe deeply. Yeah, I get that. I was breathing deeply. Like, you don't have to tell me that. And so I thought that was just an isolated event. I'm not going to have this happen again. So 2 days later, I thought, okay, let's go shopping, because I needed to get a dress for my friend's wedding. We hop in the car, and Zach and I are shopping, and I'd gotten ready that morning, and everything was gravy. We're all good to go. And I've been to this mall approximately 200 times. And so I've been there. I know what it's like. Nothing about it is scary. Everything's good. And I go into the Macy's and I start feeling anxious. And I'm like, not again. And I start to feel like I'm going to have another panic attack. And I'm standing in a Macy's, and my husband is like, just calm the fuck down. And I'm like, I can't. And so I start getting mad at him because he's giving me this stupid idiot advice to calm down when I can't calm down. And so I was like, I just need some water. So we go to the food court, and I grab a bottle of water, and every noise feels like it's screaming in my ear, and every person, it feels like they're looking at me, and I'm not this kind of person. I've never experienced this before, so it's freaking me out. You have to understand. And I've never dealt with this before, so I'm not equipped to handle it. So I don't have a full-on panic attack at the mall, but I do feel anxious the entire time I'm there. I feel like everyone is speaking so loudly around me. And so I went to the bathroom, and I tweeted out, and I said, I need help. I need some help from you guys, because the internet was not helping me in that moment. I felt like the answers they were giving me were such BS, like dictionary answers of, how to get rid of panic, and it wasn't working. And so a bunch of you guys reached out, and actually a bunch of other YouTubers reached out to me as well, which was so excellent because it made me really feel like I was not alone. I was in the bathroom, I read some of the responses, and I told Zach, I was like, we have to go. So we had to turn around, we had to go home, and I just felt so embarrassed because I've been with my husband for a really long time, but he knows who I am. He knows my behaviors. He knows I'm not like this. But even still in that moment, I felt like embarrassed. I felt like, this is not the woman that he married, and had he known that I was going to be like this, he probably would have never married me. And I just started having really negative thoughts like that. Like, am I going to be like this forever? Am I just going to be this anxious person who can't even go shopping without feeling like I'm going to die? We get home and I message one of my friends from social media, and I'm not going to say her name because I don't know if she wants to be talked about on here. And I know that she had dealt with anxiety in the past because she had helped me and told me to meditate in the past. I reached back out to her and I was like, please help me. Just please help me. And she mentioned that she has a couple of different ways and techniques of getting over anxiety, and that one of them is meditation and the other was listening to Tony Robbins. Now stay with me. If you don't know who Tony Robbins is, he is what some people call a motivational speaker. Some people call a life coach. He doesn't like the term motivational speaker because it makes it sound like all he's there to do is give motivation to you. And that is so far from the truth of what he is all about. I had actually seen a Netflix special from Tony, and it cringed me out a little bit because the very beginning, if you watch it, you'll be like, okay, he's kind of like a cult leader. I thought that too. And so I initially had a really negative idea about who he was. Initially, I didn't check him out right then when she told me to, because I was just feeling anxious and I thought, surely Tony Robbins and meditation are not going to help me. Oh, and I missed one really big thing. The day after that initial panic attack, I got an opportunity with a brand to go to Thailand. I was initially just so excited, but it scared me because I thought about all of the what ifs and all of the bad things that could happen on that trip. And I thought like, okay, well, I don't speak the language clearly. So what if there's this huge language barrier? And what if I don't know how to get to my hotel? And what if I have a panic attack on the plane? And what if I get really bad jet lag? And what if? So many what ifs came out of my fucking mouth and I scared myself. Wow, this looks so good. While the trip was an amazing opportunity and something that I've always wanted to do, I've always wanted to travel internationally with a brand. While I was so excited, on one hand, the other part of me was coming up with this what if scenario that was scaring the actual shit out of me. It was making me not want to go. And that in turn made me feel ungrateful and made me just feel like absolute shit. I really shouldn't have done my foundation first. That was such a mistake. So after that second panic episode, now I'm going to Thailand, right? I'm going to Thailand and it's all so exciting and I'm anxious and I'm scared and I am overthinking the entire scenario of all the bad things that are going to happen, and I start feeling incredibly depressed. And then I get on Google and I start searching things and overthinking things, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to clean up this line and make it like a negative space wing liner, and I'm going to do that with my Sigma E15, which is the flat definer brush, and the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. I looked back on my situation of what's been going on with me for the few weeks before, and I thought, okay, so I wasn't just feeling lazy. I think I'm going through some sort of depression, because I was looking online as I was over Googling everything, and it was suggesting that, when you have depression and you go through things that you start feeling lack of motivation, you really don't want to leave the house, and you start experiencing like isolation and just lack of wanting to do anything. And oh my God, I was so tired too. So I decided the next day to go to the doctor. And I thought, I'm gonna get ahead of this. I'm not gonna just let it take over my entire life, and I am not gonna just sit here and wallow in this feeling, because this is the one life I get, and I'm not gonna let it absolutely ruin me. And so I went to the doctor, and this was on Thursday the week before last. And I went to the doctor and I was like, I just told her everything that's been going on with me. I told her about my feeling is that I had the numb hand, and from my excessive Dr. Google search, I feel like maybe I was getting diabetes, which is what really freaked me out, because if in fact I am getting diabetes, I did this to myself. And I have completely neglected myself by sitting around and eating Pop-Tarts and doing nothing to take care of myself whatsoever. And that just freaked me out. It freaked me out really bad. That in combination with Thailand, just the stress overrode me. I got to a point where I was just feeling absolutely sick to my stomach, and I just couldn't handle it. And so she took some blood work and she compared it to my blood work from 2 years ago, and she said that from what the test showed, she didn't think I was far off. She said you could certainly be, diabetic or pre-diabetic just from not taking care of myself, and in turn also having the PCOS. Diabetes is, an afterthought of that. So typically you get insulin resistance when you have PCOS and then develop diabetes or pre-diabetes first and then diabetes later in life. And I'm 29. And so I thought initially, like, this is it. Like, I have absolutely fucked myself over by not caring about myself. And that made me so sad because I'm so young still. And I have so much life left to give. And I'm not ready to have the rest of my life, be on insulin and to be having to, just, there are so many issues that come with that, and it freaked me out and it scared me, and it really was a huge wake-up call for me. So I asked my doctor, I said, what should I be eating? You're my doctor, tell me, what should I be doing? And she was like, here you go. You need to be eating lower carb, you need to be drinking a lot of water, and you need to be exercising. And hearing it come from her mouth, it was like, done. I don't know what I've been waiting for. I left her office that day and started eating healthy. And when I say healthy, I mean like fucking healthy. So I left her office that day and I said, enough is enough. I'm not going to do this anymore. I am not going to be this person who overindulges in everything in my life, doesn't take any responsibility for anything that I do, and has this horribly negative mindset to where I'm just stressed person that I don't want to be. I don't want to be that person. And so I'm not anymore. And I have absolutely shifted my entire life in the last 2 weeks that I have not been on social media. And I decided to take her advice and start meditating and listening to Tony Robbins. And everything about my life in the last 2 weeks has shifted a 180. My health is better. I got the blood work results back, and in fact, I'm not diabetic. I'm better than I was 2 years ago, which is shocking because I've only eaten worse and only taken care of myself less. But that means nothing to me, because just because I am not diabetic doesn't mean that I don't need to eat healthy and take care of myself. It's exactly the opposite. I need to take care of myself. And so I am, and I have been eating so much healthier, and I started a new medication. She still wants me to be on this new medication for probably life, honestly. It's called metformin. So many people who have insulin resistance take it because essentially when you have insulin resistance, so my pancreas doesn't work the way your pancreas works if you have a normal functioning pancreas. Mine does not excrete insulin when I eat too much sugar. So if I eat a Pop-Tart, let's say, whereas your pancreas will excrete insulin in order to bring down your blood sugar, mine doesn't. So I'm not diabetic in that way, but I have insulin resistance. So it does shoot out insulin, it just doesn't do enough. And so when I eat something sugary, all of that excess sugar gets immediately stored as fat. By the way, this is what my doctor told me. I'm not just getting this from Google. This is exactly how she explained it to me. All that excess sugar gets stored as fat immediately in my body because it doesn't have anywhere else to go, instead of my body burning off that sugar and fat with my insulin as energy. So metformin will make my pancreas work for me. It'll make my pancreas do its job, shoot out the insulin that it needs, and hopefully be able to lose this weight, which is excellent because it starts utilizing my body the way that it should be. So I'm listening to my doctor's advice. I'm on her new medication, which I started, I believe, 3 days ago because I had to get it shipped to me. I have to use an online pharmacy now with my insurance. Immediately, I started eating healthier. And then I did what my friend suggested, and I started meditating. And I used this app called Headspace, which, if you've not heard of it, it's sort of a guided meditation, and they just sort of take you through a 10-minute meditation every day. And it's really easy, and it's not cringy, it's not stupid, and it's just totally normal. Because I was always really skeptical. I've always kind of considered myself a skeptic, and I'm trying to change that because, you know what? 2 of the things that I was skeptical about actually fucking work. Then I did what my friend also suggested, and I started listening to Tony Robbins. If you've never heard of him before, I'm sure you guys know who he is. Absolutely one of the most helpful people that I've ever come across. As soon as I started listening to Tony Robbins, everything in my life shifted as far as my mindset. And it's been absolutely wonderful. You guys may not know it, but I'm a pretty negative person. I know you always see me like self-deprecating in my humor and things like that, but I'm a pretty negative person in the way that anything I think like always has a lot of what ifs in it. It's always, what if this happens? Well, what if this happens? And like the Thailand trip, which I'm actually no longer going on, it fell through. I actually got myself excited about the trip, and then it's not able to happen now, which is too bad because I was really excited and they were going to take me and Zach. I'm pretty disappointed, but you know, shit happens and everything happens for a reason, and you know, I have to believe that. So anyway, Tony breaks that down for you and explains why you're like that and how to switch your mindset and how to just be a better person and to have more positivity and to just get shit done and quit making excuses. And I'm a super excuse maker, and I'm not spontaneous at all. I am not a spontaneous person. Like if people are like, hey, you want to go out tonight? I'm like, where are we going? What time are we getting there? What time is the appointment at? When are we going to be leaving? What kind of car are we going to be driving home in? I'm that person. I need to know exactly where we're going to be, exactly when. And I don't know why that is, but I've just allowed myself to remove any spontaneity from my life whatsoever, which I hate because I want to be one of those people that can just be like, where are we going right now? Let's go. Let's just hop in the car and just go. I'm also really afraid of heights. So the other day I spontaneously scheduled me and Zach a hot air balloon ride. And I normally wouldn't because, again, I don't spontaneously do anything and I don't like heights, and I want to get over my fears instead of letting them control me. I want to get over them. I don't want to experience this anymore. I don't want to be this anxious person who lets all of these awful experiences in my life and things that I go through and feelings that aren't even real define who I am. And so we did that, and it was so exhilarating and it was so amazing, and we had an amazing time and we bonded and we laughed, and it was so incredible, and I just felt alive after that. I felt like I can do anything, and I can do anything. And so I look like a coke addict. And I'm scheduling some vacations this year, and I'm going to Vegas this weekend with NYX. Actually, it's their store opening. So if you guys are in Vegas, I would love to meet you. I'm going to be at the store opening at 9 p.m. on Friday in Vegas. I'm not exactly sure where it's at, but if you guys are in Vegas, we're going to be partying. We're only going to be there for one night, but I'm going to be there. I just realized after listening to Tony and, you know, going through all of these experiences in the last 2 weeks that I have to shift my mindset. I am not this person that just has to sit in the house and just accept this to be my reality. And especially after talking to a lot of other people that have experienced this, like, I don't have to be this person, and neither do you. So if you do go through this, or if you have ever experienced, you know, panic attacks or anxiety or feeling like you are not good enough, I am telling you that you 1000% are. You don't have to stick with this. Like, what you focus on is what you feel, and that is what Tony says, and that is the truest words that have ever been spoken. What you focus on is what you feel. So if you focus on being incredibly negative and feeling anxious and feeling depressed and saying the words, I'm depressed and I am my depression and I am anxiety, you will be those things, because what you focus on is what you're going to feel. And I just made the choice that I'm going to smile more, and I'm going to get the fuck out of my house. And so I've been eating healthy, I've been exercising, going to the gym, I've been meditating, and I have been smiling and getting out of my house. Because when I sit in this house and I sit in the living room and I sit with the curtains drawn and I do nothing and I don't go around people and I don't see people and I don't do anything outside of my house, what do I expect to feel when I go around people? Do I expect being in a big crowd of people and being comfortable? No. You have to go do it in order to be comfortable doing it. And so I make myself go out every day. I go out and I be around people. I go to the gym. I am listening to Tony Robbins when I'm in the gym. And, you know, I'm not saying that Tony Robbins is the cure-all for everything, but he speaks fucking truth. And since I have been doing all of these things, I have not had any panicky feelings. I have not had any anxiety feelings. And if I start to feel a little bit anxious, I came up with this. What you should do is turn that anxiety. You know, anxiety sometimes feels like your heart's beating really hard and you're breathing really hard and you're feeling really almost like you've had too much caffeine and like you're gonna have a heart attack, exercise. Use that feeling that you call anxiety and call it energy and go to the gym. I mean, I know that coming from me, this is all really weird because look at me, but I'm changing that. And, you know, it's going to be a long road ahead of me. It's not going to be immediate. It's not going to be something that just happens to me overnight. I'm not feeling hopeless anymore. And you can too. If you feel that way, like I'm telling you, listen to Tony Robbins. Do it. Like, what's it going to hurt you? They're free on YouTube. You don't have to listen to his Netflix special. In fact, I urge you not to immediately. Listen to some other things of him just talking about. I just typed in Tony Robbins depression, Tony Robbins anxiety, Tony Robbins positivity, Tony Robbins negativity. I need to hear about how to fix what's going on with me. And I have learned that. And I have shifted my mindset. So when I feel something negative come in, I find the exact opposite of that thing. So what is the opposite of negative? Is positive. What's the opposite of feeling anxious? Is confidence. And what is the opposite of feeling scared and sad? Is being confident and happy. And so I'm trying to flip my mindset. And if I feel something negative come in, realize how insignificant that feeling is. Anytime I feel a negative thought come in, I push it out and I replace it with a positive thought, which sounds a lot easier said than done, but it isn't. It's hard because you don't realize how negative you are until you try replacing those feelings. So if I feel something come in and I'm like, oh my God, I can't get this done in time. Well, okay, what can I do to get it done in time? Or what can I do to, make this situation less frustrating? Instead of freaking out about it, fix it. Don't sit there and be this negative person who feels like they can't fix a situation. You can absolutely do anything that you put your mind to. There's no question about that. Flip it into something that I can do in that moment. So feeling really anxious about Thailand. And again, I'm not going now, but the way that I made myself excited about it is by telling myself, okay, well, you're nervous about Thailand. Why? And I would, go through all the reasons in my mind and why was I nervous and what's the worst thing that could have happened to me in that situation. And then realize that instead of being nervous about the situation, I need to channel that into being excited about the situation. Because what is it that the worst that could happen to me? Am I going to die? The likelihood of that is really fucking slim. And so I turned it into excitement. I thought, okay, well, I'm going to be in a new place. I'm going to be in a new place. It's going to be scary. No, I'm going to be in a new place. And that is so exciting. And just saying those words to myself made it into a reality. And it sounds so cheesy almost, but it's not. Like if you tell yourself you're going to be scared, you're going to be fucking scared. But if you tell yourself that it's exciting, you'll be excited. Getting out of the house was a huge thing for me because I find myself wanting to just stay in and not do anything. But that's not doing anything for me. It's not helping me grow as a person. And if you're growing as a person, you'll always feel fulfilled. And that is one thing that is so true. I find all of these things sound so cheesy. Like when I'm talking about this, it sounds so fucking stupid. And I sound like some idiot, like I'm trying to be some idiot motivational speaker. It's not even the point. It's that it actually worked for me in the last 2 weeks. I was feeling like absolute shit, probably the lowest I've ever felt in my adult life. And I flipped it. And now I feel awesome. And I feel like I can do anything. And I feel like, what is there to be afraid of? There really is nothing. Like, what is it that I am so scared of? I'm going to take the Stila Magnificent Metals color Kitten Karma. And it's like a liquid glitter. And I'm going to do a little glitter line where it sort of like does the negative space. So yeah, I have been doing really well this last week or so. Everything's been going so much better for me. My anxiety is gone. I feel happy. I feel hopeful. I am so excited about Vegas this coming up weekend. I get to see my best friend in the whole world. I'm going to do my brows off camera and I will be right back. Lately, I have been using the Ofra highlighter, and this is in collaboration with Nikki Tutorials, and this is the color Everglow. And I use the gold and white colors mixed together. everything is good. I needed that break so badly. And sometimes you don't realize it until something like that happens. Like, I didn't feel that stressed. I needed time to myself, and I needed to take care of myself and realize that the lifestyle I was leading before was not sustainable and that it was not good for me at all. Again, I'm trying to step out of my comfort zone of doing the same old nude lip all the time. So I'm going to use Ofra's Charmed. All right, now I'm going to use the foiled lip gloss from Makeup Geek in the color Acoustic. And this is the finished look, guys. It is intense, I am aware, but I want to take some really cool Instagram photos. And yeah, I don't think this makeup matches the background all that great, but yellow's always happy and sunny, and that's what we're going for. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being patient with me while I've been gone for these last couple of weeks. I am back and I am good and everything's good, and I'm going to continue eating healthy, exercising, keeping a good positive mindset, and just living my life. I'm not saying that other people don't need medication or anything like that. Don't get me wrong. If this didn't help me, I would absolutely get medication for it. If at any point I feel like I need medication, I will absolutely see the doctor. She didn't think it was necessary at this time, and nor do I. If it just started, I think if I can get it under control without meds, I certainly will. If I need them, I certainly will take them. I am not against taking meds. I take 3 as is, so I don't want anyone to think that I'm like anti-medicine, because I think that if you have issues, you absolutely should see a doctor. And I did. I'm looking positively to the future. I'm hoping that this doesn't happen again, and I'm not hoping, I know this won't happen again because I am telling myself that it won't. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will leave some links to some videos that have helped me out massively in the description of this video. I will also link to the app that I got that really helped me out. If you are not yet subscribed, make sure you do. I upload all the time from here on out. I'm so close to 100,000 subscribers. I cannot believe it. We are so close. Also, you can follow me on all my other social media stuff. All the links will be down below. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Periscope. Those are all RawBeautyKristi, same way it's spelled here. I update on Snapchat and Instagram stories quite often, so if you are not following me, I highly suggest it. I know this video is long, but I hope you guys liked it, and I hope you guys like this makeup look, and I will see you guys at my next video. Bye!